brought Edmund by the house, before they went out to the beach house, I knew then that she intended to keep her word, that we would go on seeing him in spite of everything. Darling, he knew that you loved him. He really knew that you cared.
Frank, tell me again how it happened. I just can't seem to get it in my mind.
Pat didn't give me all the details. Jill and Edmund were out at the beach house, alone. Apparently there was some kind of explosion, gas, or whatever. Edmund's room was wrecked. He was killed instantly. Jill is critical. They think she was hurt trying to get at him.
They're at some hospital on the island?
It's, some kind of emergency clinic. They had to get somewhere fast. There's a good chance Jill won't make it.
I'll check on the airplane. They're going to land you at MacArthur Airport on the island.
Beach house in January. When Ed Coleridge said he was going to winterize that place, I said he was crazy. He said, no, it's the only place that guarantees peace of mind.
Andre, what's happening with that plane? It'll be ready in half an hour. I want a car downstairs right away for 3 passengers, and I want another car to pick them up at MacArthur Airport out on the island.
3, you're not coming with us.
Oh, Frank, I think not. What about tomorrow?
The meeting with the vice president. It's scheduled for 11. I should be back in time. If not, I'll call you.
Wait, we can't leave just like that. I mean, we've got our things at the hotel.
Oh, don't worry about that. I'll have them packed up and sent to your home tomorrow. Please don't even think about it. I'd like to help.
Oh, you've done plenty already, thanks.
Yes, and we appreciate it, Ray.
I only wish I could do something to change things.
Yes, I know. Well, where are our coats?
Oh, they're out front. I'll go down with you.
Oh, good heavens. The alert and the elite are here tonight. Oh, my.
Polly, will you excuse us, please? I'll be right back.
The role of Mary Ryan Finelli is now being played by Nicolette Goulet.
Ray, would you like a drink?
No. Yeah, I guess I would.
Okay. I'm sorry I was such a klutz coming into the room like that.
Don't be silly. How could you know what was going on in here? Oh, it's so ghastly. Everybody out there partying and in here. What an end for Frank's triumphant day. Paul, I feel so awful. All the times I've wished that child was out of the picture, I never meant anything like this.
Oh, Ray, look, you may be self-serving, but you're not a monster.
No, I'm definitely not a monster. And I do feel dreadful for the whole family. And Polly, the look on Frank's face when he found out his son was dead. I hope I never see that much pain again on his face.
I know. It's a terrible, terrible tragedy. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe some good could come out of this somehow.
How?
Well, I mean, sad as it is, the loss of Edmund does sever the link between Frank and Jill. Look, all these months he's suffered so from divided loyalties and guilt, and now that's over. I mean, you know how wrong she was for you.
Polly, please, for heaven's sake.
Ray, look, I'm not a monster either. I just think maybe you'd feel better if you could look at it more realistically and less sentimentally.
I'm afraid that's just a little bit too pragmatic, even for me.
Oh, dear. I'm sorry. Maybe my timing was off. Look, I do feel sad for Frank and his family.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad for Frank. You want to know something? I suspect it's even worse for Seneca Bolak. Patrick's in Dr. Morton's office calling Riverside to make sure you're all covered. Is there any change?
No, she's still out. Roger's in there with her in case she comes around, but I think she'll be out for a while.
You know, when my father died, I couldn't handle it at all. I just totally blocked it out of my mind. And then when I did let it sink in, it hurt even more.
I'm perfectly aware that Edmund's dead.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. No, I am. You were just trying to help.
Not much help. Maybe I could do something practical. Why don't you let me make the funeral arrangements?
Yeah. Guess we're gonna have to do something. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have any preference to a religious service?
Well, Edmund was baptized immediately after he was born, because we thought we were gonna lose him then.
Well, you're Catholic, aren't you?
Well, I was raised that way, yeah, but I haven't practiced it for years. Jill and I had planned sort of an ecumenical religious education for Edmund. But we thought we had plenty of time. Could you call your family minister?
No, we don't really have one. Reverend Wilbur retired last year. His young assistant has taken over, but he's all beard and social protest. Well, which is fine, but I'm not sure he'd be much of a comfort in a situation like this. I wish we could call Father McShane.
The Ryan's priest. Well, he couldn't handle the service, of course, but maybe you ought to call him anyway. It's going to hit Johnny and Maeve pretty hard, and he'll be a help.
I'll do that. And I guess call Reverend Green for lack of anyone else.
Yeah.
And I'll call Nick Zabo.
The undertaker. Yeah. Everything as simple as possible. Let's get it over with.
You know, when I was younger, I used to think the burial customs in this country were just barbaric. People walking up to caskets, looking in, never knowing what to say, and then when they would say something, it would be dreadful, though they meant well. But as I got older, I suddenly realized that rituals are of help in some strange way. Seneca, grief has to be shared or it's unbearable.
It makes sense.
Too much control in a situation like this isn't good.
I know, Faith. But I can't help it. I think I'll go see how she's doing.
Is she conscious?
Well, she came around for a few minutes, but went right out again. I think once it registers about Edmund, well, they'll have to sedate her. If she moves too much, she's in trouble.
Do you know any more about the spinal injury?
They're not equipped. We're going to have to get her out of here once they find a place they can handle it.
Why don't we just take her to Riverside?
I think that'd be too risky.
You know something? I never want to see another hospital or an emergency room ever again.
Well, I
I'm
think that'd
sick of
be.
the thought.
I think that'd be kind of tough, considering your profession.
Well, I haven't practiced much medicine lately, have I? Seems like it's either me or someone I'm close to that's the wrong end of the service.
You got help. So did they.
Mostly. I just called Father McShane and I told him about Edmund. And he was lovely. He was going to drive out, but I thought it would be better if he stayed at Riverside and was there when Maeve and Johnny got home.
Yeah, good. You know, for as long as I can remember, Mac's been there for all of us in the tight spots.
Pat, if all these horrible things had to happen, I really appreciate you being here for me.
You know how I feel about that.
Yes.
Can I ask where you are about all of it?
Tom?
Yeah. And us.
Where I am is confused, kind of miserable.
Yeah. Well, I understand your conflict. But, honey, if you're feeling guilty, I think you owe Tom any more than you've already given him. I really think that's a mistake. I mean, well, you said yourself the marriage was a mistake.
Pat, that was before I understood the situation.
Yeah.
That was when I honestly thought that I'd never see the person I married again. But he's back now. Back because he took a risk of a surgery for my sake. The good, dear Tom I cared about.
You know, caring about someone doesn't mean martyring yourself for them. You and I are so close to having everything we missed before.
Pat, you know me. You know me well enough to know I'm not comfortable, nor am I happy when I think I'm acting irresponsibly.
You know what I know? I know that I love you, and that I'm not about to lose you again.
How can I leave Tom at a time like this?
But if you stay with him and you don't love him, it's not going to be any fairer than it was the first time.
But it's fair to let him be deported?
But we were going to ask Frank to do something about that.
Pat, I think Frank has enough problems of his own right now.
Okay. I know. But when it all settles down about Jill and Edmund, I'll ask Frank to do whatever he can for Tom.
Yeah. That would be good, in any case.
I am sorry. Now's not the time for any heavy decisions on your part. One day at a time, remember?
Pat.
Ma. Frank. You don't know how sorry I am I had to make that call.
Yeah? Look, how is Jill? Where is she?
Now, she's stabilized, all right, and we don't know about the back injury, but I know that the emergency surgery saved her life.
Oh, thank heaven for that.
Where's the surgeon? I want to talk to him.
I was her surgeon.
The thing is, I confronted him directly. I'm not sure he's used to that, but I think he liked it. I figured if I put it right to him, do you loathe me, or is it just Ray's hire me without your say-so, he'd be taken aback, and he was.
Yeah, so he said.
Think of it. I nonplussed Thatcher Ross. And I found out, basically, he does like me. Well, he doesn't loathe me. And he's satisfied with my work. He just doesn't believe in mixing business with pleasure.
You know something? He's right.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I have been babbling on, haven't I?
Just a bit.
Okay. Tell me about your day.
I thought you would never ask.
I have been a bit self-indulgent. Forgive?
Just don't bring Thatcher to bed with you anymore, okay?
Right. I'll say Thatch, out.
Thatch, is it?
He'd die at the thought. He's pretty clear about boundaries. And he's got a point. Whoops. Your day. What were you and Siobhan up to besides seeing Annie?
Hey, your sister got herself involved with Ethel Green and a rent strike.
Oh, Jack. Does Frank know?
Frank gave the go-ahead. He thinks she can handle it. So do I.
Sorry. Old reflexes. Tell me about it.
Well, it seems that a bunch of tenants from other buildings went to see Ethel Green because she's Frank's neighborhood task force leader and because that they heard that she had some success with her landlord working through Frank, and they wanted the same thing. They had the same problems. No heat and lousy maintenance, no security. So Ethel wanted Ryan to work with her on it, and Siobhan volunteered. Seems she's had some experience with rent strikes.
I have no doubt.
Anyway, Siobhan and Ethel met with the tenants, and they were going over their legal rights. When suddenly this guy, Pyle, a landlord representative, came in, threatened them all with eviction, and worse. And naturally, that didn't set too well with Siobhan.
He actually threatened them?
Particularly your baby sister. Said she was an outside agitator looking for trouble and very likely gonna find it.
I'll do a story on it. Does he really think he can get away with that? Okay, what was the name?
C&P Realty.
And the guy, Pyle?
Martin Pyle. Mary, don't. Let Siobhan handle it. She can.
I'm sure she can. But think of the exposure. A 2-minute spot in Channel 1, and they won't dare.
Let Siobhan handle it herself. It'll do her ego a world of good.
I hadn't noticed Siobhan's ego was ailing.
Hey, please.
Okay. Okay. I'm certainly not in the habit of snatching up my little sister's ego gratifications.
Well, that's what it would amount to.
Fine. Far be it from me. What's it to you, anyway? You seem to be involved.
Well, I was invited. Well, actually, I volunteered to go along as sort of a bodyguard when she went into this guy Pyle's territory. See, she went back and talked to a lot of the tenants individually to tell them not to be scared off by his threats. And then she called Ethel and made a progress report, and Siobhan really seems to be in her element.
Planning families by day, terrorizing landlords by night.
Hey, she's a good kid. She's just looking for direction.
I know. But do me a favor, would you? Don't bring my little sister or Martha Green or Marvin What's-His-Face to bed with us either. Deal?
Deal. You do understand why I want you to lay off, don't you?
Of course. I'm sure you're right.
It's only 3/4 of the time. Unlike my wife. Night.
Night, honey.
I did the surgery.
You did?
There was no choice. Among other things, she had a severe laceration of the thigh. She was hemorrhaging. Somebody had to go in, locate the bleeders, and tie them off right away. Blood supply here is practically nil, and the resident on duty wasn't qualified for surgery.
But you were without even so much as a license?
Anything happens to that girl, so
No,
help me.
don't.
That girl happens to be my wife.
All the more reason, Seneca.
It's all right.
Where is Jill? Does she know about Ed?
Yes.
Oh.
She's under sedation.
How can she bear it?
What I want to know is how long would it have taken to have gotten a qualified licensed surgeon here? 20 minutes?
20 minutes would have killed her.
Did you even try to find someone else? No, I thought so. You had to come in here and take over. Control the situation whether you were competent to or not.
How long has it been since you've done any surgery, Doctor?
I did what I had to do, and I don't have to justify my actions to you.
I've said it 1,000 times. The man thinks he's God Almighty.
Now, come on outside. I'll give you the details.
How could they let him do it?
I'll give it.
I want an answer to that myself.
The doctor and the nurse on duty knew the nature of the emergency, and they knew my name.
But they didn't know that your license had been suspended or that you hadn't done any surgery at all in nearly 2 years.
I take full responsibility for my actions, Senator.
In other words, you lied to them. Legal or not, you had to run the show. Da's right. You're back to playing God again. It's your favorite game. But where in hell were you when Jill and Edmund were out at that beach house alone? Why weren't you there managing, controlling, taking charge? Or did they go out there and try and get away from you?
Francis, please, don't say anything that you're going to regret. It's a hurtful situation.
My son is dead. Son you tried to steal. Now his mother is in there, critically injured. My God, Seneca, if she dies, I will personally see to it that you are crucified.
Every weekend, girls just want to have fun. It's Gilmore Girls on SoapNet. Catch back-to-back episodes of one of TV's most popular shows. Saturday nights at 9 and Sundays at 6. Gilmore Girls on SoapNet.